floor is yours.
Thanks, Ellen, and welcome everybody. As Ellen said, I am the project assistant for academic and student affairs at AACC, and we welcome you for joining us today, and we welcome you to ATE conference. Congratulations. It's a hope that our meeting will help orient you to the conference and help you maximize your time while attending and answer any questions you have prior to the event, because we know that we throw a lot of information out there over email. So don't hesitate to ask your questions. Let's see, we will get started. This is what we will cover today. We've broken the agenda down into the following sections. We'll also have a few breaks to answer questions as we go along. For your reference, we will be looking at the AT conference overview, which will give you a general conference background, registration, hotel, and travel information, an overview of the student events, and some commonly asked conference questions. Before we begin, Ellen was going to do a quick poll. Is that right, Ellen? Or are we just going to ask in chat who has been?
We'll just ask in chat to put in yes or no. Yeah.
All right. We're just wondering who has been to the Washington, D.C. area before? It's kind of a popular place to visit. Hopefully it'll be new for some of you. Great. It's good to see that some of you have been and some of you hadn't, so that's very exciting. Let's see. All right. In this, sorry, a little thrown off already. All right. In this section, we'll cover the what, when, where, who, and why of the conference. Okay, so what is the ATE conference, or what is ATE? ATE stands for the Advanced Technological Education, and all your programs of study are funded by ATE grants from the National Science Foundation. This conference is called the Advanced Technological Education Principal Investigators Conference, which is referred to as the ATE PI Conference, or the ATE Conference for short. So what exactly is a PI? The PI stands for Principal Investigator. This is the term used to describe a project director for the grant. The ATE Conference is a national professional development and networking event for PIs leading ATE grants and their project partners. And it was the project PI working in your program of study that nominated you to attend. The conference is co-sponsored by the National Science Foundation and the American Association of Community Colleges and is primarily funded through a grant to AACC. For those of you who may not be familiar with AACC, we are the primary advocacy organization for the nation's community colleges, representing roughly 1,200 two-year colleges across the U.S. and their 12 million students. AACC has been working with NSF to host the annual ATE conference for the past 29 years. This year is our 30th event, so our 30th anniversary. You'll be seeing some anniversary themed activities throughout the event, so be on the lookout. Where is it and when is it? The conference is held in Washington, D.C. metro area and typically takes place every October. The dates for 2023, as you probably know, hopefully know, are October 25th through the 27th, and the conference will be at the Omni Shoreham Hotel. This is an actual picture of the hotel from the bridge side, which is beautiful. It's a historic property near downtown DC and is conveniently located on the red line of our metro system and is within walking distance of a number of area restaurants and shops. It's also very close to the zoo. Following this orientation meeting, AACC will distribute a student's guide to DC to accompany the scheduled events for the conference. That information will have a list of area restaurants, maps, and other information. So we hope you'll be able to explore while you're here. Who attends? About 800 to 900 people attend the conference each year. Last year, we had a reduced number of attendees due to the first return to in-person, but we expect and are excited to return to full capacity this year. Participants, including those leading grants for AT projects and centers, and their grant partners from business, industry, K-12, and four-year institutions. The conference also provides the opportunity for approximately 50 students to attend, which you are a part of. NSF program officers and AAC staff attend, as well as select guests representing the federal government, STEM-related nonprofits, and associations. So lots of different kinds of people. Why should everyone attend? In addition to the benefit of attending as described in this quote here, this is a group of our students from a couple of years ago, the ATE conference provides an opportunity for you to meet other students, learn about new technologies, learn about various STEM careers, as well as provide you the opportunity to learn from ATE leaders and industry representatives firsthand. The conference will also hopefully give you a chance to see DC and tour the city while you're here. Now on to conference costs and understanding who pays for what in terms of your attendance. For students, AACC covers the conference registration fee and 3 nights of lodging. All other expenses will be covered by your respective institution or by your sponsoring ATE grant. If you have not already done so, you should discuss airfare, ground transportation, and meal expenses with your PI. The majority of students travel with their PIs. Therefore, airfare and ground transportation to and from the airport are covered. But if you are not traveling with your PI or another grant team member, you should talk with your PI on how grant transportation will be covered. All the schools handle this a little bit differently. So it's just really great to touch base with who's sending you here, just so you know all of the ins and outs. To help you with planning for expenses, ACC will provide the following meals during the conference. There'll be the Wednesday dinner, which is the opening session of the event. Breakfast and lunch on Tuesday. These are both buffets, and breakfast on Friday. There's also a light reception on Thursday or during the day. There's some food and snacks. And on Wednesday, during your poster session, there is dessert and coffee served. Please note that you will need to pay for any additional meals outside of what is offered at the event. Okay, now we'll talk about hotel accommodations, registration, and student activities. All students, as you've probably hopefully have seen in the emails that we have sent out, have to fill out the online 2023 ATE Student Information Request Form to make hotel reservations. This link was provided in your acceptance notice. So do not make your own hotel reservations on the Omni site. By filling out this form, we will be able to make them for you. If you've already done so, don't cancel your reservation. Just put the confirmation code on the form so we can work with the hotel to make sure everything is squared away and that you're not charged for your room. As stated before, ACC will cover 3 nights of lodging. If you plan to come in early or stay following the event, you will be responsible for any additional nights. The rate for the room, as seen here, is $279 a night. The Omni extends the group rate based on availability up to 3 days and before and 3 days after the conference rate. And please include that on the form. So your whole stay, if you're coming in before the conference or if you're staying after, just put that whole date range on your form, and then we will work with the hotel and they will charge you for the nights that we don't cover. When you check in, be aware that you have to provide a credit card when you check in, and that's mostly for incidentals, like if you have room service or you rented a movie or something like that, that will go to your credit card. Please note that Omni will place a hold on your credit card in the amount of $100 per day at check-in to cover potential charges. Please pay particular attention if you're using a debit card, which would actually deduct those funds. They will credit them, but it gets a little nutty. So having a credit card is the best way to do it. And you can also work with your PI on that. Sometimes they travel with institution cards and can help you out. When you check out, the hotels would be refunded or released depending on whether or not you charged anything, but it can sometimes take up to 7 business days after checkout to be reimbursed for the holds. Also, be sure to confirm with the front desk at check-in that your room is to be charged to the master account, meaning that we will cover it. If you have any trouble at all, just come straight to the registration desk and I will work it out. Okay, after you get settled in, you want to come to the west wing of the hotel. There will be lots of signs where you can register for the conference. This will allow you to pick up your badge and get a program. We'll also have a hard copy of the student schedule events and the student guide to DC. I will be at the registration desk most of the conference, so please come by to say hello, or if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Please note that by signing in, you give AACC permission to use your photo with the AACC publications or media that promotes and shares information on the ATE program. Now, we just went over quite a bit of information, so I want to take a moment and answer any questions or comments. Ellen, is there anything that's come up in the chat that you want to bring forward, or anything that you would like to add or clarify?
Yeah, we don't have anything in chat as of yet. And I know after this question break, you'll be covering student events in the poster section, and we may have some questions there. But if there are any questions on the hotel reservation, oh, there is a question. How many students? Did you say 15 or 50?
Oh, sorry. Late evening here. Of 50 students are currently enrolled.
Yes, we end up between 50 and 60 students about every event. So we do have 50 students attending so far. So thank you for applying and being part of that. It's a nice a nice group of students, a nice cohort. We have a really nice poster session and awards that Courtney will talk about. Are there any other questions on what she's covered so far at this time? We'll put it in chat, or feel free to come on camera and or just speak out.
I was wondering, so I'm under 18 because I do a dual enrollment program with my community college, and I'm comfortable traveling by myself, but I'm a little more comfortable traveling with my mom, and I understand she's likely not covered by the grant, and I was just wondering how that works.
That's something we can talk with you offline. Your mom, we can certainly make sure she's comped at the in terms of registration, and she can stay with you in the hotel. But we wouldn't have funds to support her travel, but that is something you could speak to your college about. But we have had we have had those under 18 come before, and they've traveled with their parents, and we've just made sure their parents had access to the events and could stay with them. So that wasn't, from our perspective, that wasn't a problem. It was just, could they travel?
Okay. Okay, awesome. So if I get a room with 2 beds, that's the same cost, and then our train from Lynchburg to DC is just $17.
Oh, wow. Well, then yes.
Yeah,
so when you
fill out no worries.
No worries at all. And when you fill out the form, you would just indicate that you're sharing a room with a parent and that you're requesting 2 beds, and we'll make sure that you have 2 beds for that purpose.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay, so wait, there were some questions going on in chat there, Courtney. Let me go back. What is the dress code for the conference and the poster presentation? I knew we're going to cover that momentarily. And then there was a question on the credit card. Courtney, I'll just address that for putting down for incidentals. But that's been done a number of ways. Sometimes students put down their own card, or the PI puts down the card for any students they're traveling with, because we certainly know that can be an issue. That's why we make everyone aware that they do an incidental hold, and there's not anything we can do for an organization to avoid it. So sometimes I would talk to your PI if you're concerned about it at all. Or if you have a personal credit card with that limit, do know it will be released when you check out. But, don't be alarmed if there's a $300 hold put on your card when you go in initially, since that is a standard hotel policy, pretty much for all the hotels in DC. So again, if you've got a credit card, you're comfortable doing that. Otherwise, certainly talk to your PI. A lot of times they will put down an institutional or a business card, or I've seen plenty of faculty put down their own card just so you don't have to deal with that. But that's something definitely talk to them about in terms of, comfort level. So, you can have that handled on the front end. Let's see. Do they get their own? You can answer this one, Courtney. Do students get their own room, or do they share?
Yes, you all get your own room unless you prefer to share with someone else. So if you're traveling with your best friend and you guys want to stay in the same room, we can make that happen too. But you all are funded for your own room. Just make that is asked on the form. So just make a note of it.
Yeah, so not required to, but if you'd like to, absolutely. Well, Courtney, I'm going to have you, in the interest of time, there aren't any questions at this point, so I would go ahead and advance, and I know we're going to cover dress and all of that in this next section.
Great. Okay, so let's move forward and talk about ATE conference activities for students. The ATE conference has a variety of session types on different topics. It also features student speakers. For many, it's their first time presenting in a professional environment. A link to the program will be forwarded to students as soon as it's available online. Please take a look with your PI and identify sessions you want to attend and support fellow students. Some of the students in this cohort are presenting with their PIs, so just be on the lookout. Let's see. This is another fun photo of students presenting. This is a photo of the informal student meet and greet that we hold on Wednesday, October 25th at 3 p.m. in the executive room. This room is directly across from registration. This gathering's for any students that come in early to the event and want to connect with other students. It's a great place to kind of circle up and get to know people. It's an optional networking event. We serve some light refreshments, give students the opportunity to introduce themselves. And then at the end of this event, we will walk students over to the east wing of the hotel to the Blue Pre and Blue Room to begin setting up the posters for the student poster session. We'll go over more about the poster session in a little bit. AACC will also host a special student-only flash mentoring session with business and industry. It's on Thursday, October 26th from 8:30 to 9:30, which will be in your student schedule. This session is focused on providing students the opportunity to talk directly with business and industry leaders to learn about career fields and skills needed to be successful in the workforce. It's kind of a speed networking session, so it's a great way to connect with people. AACC will share more about this as we get closer to the event, but if you think you're interested, please note it on your registration form so we can make sure that we have a good idea of the number of people that are attending and we have enough industry to talk to you all. Okay, as students, you will attend a recognition breakfast being held in your honor. You'll be presented with certificates recognizing your achievements in STEM by an NSF program director. The PIs are welcome to attend with the students. The breakfast will take place on Friday, October 27th from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. It's really early, but I tell you that it's really worth it. The food is really good. The NSF people are wonderful. They come, they talk to everybody, and it's just a really, really fun event and a great way to close things out for you guys. AACC also gives students the opportunity to go on a tour in DC. This year, it'll be a tour, excuse me, of the recently renovated National Air and Space Museum, as well as giving an opportunity to see some of the DC monuments, because we rent a bus and there's a tour guide on the bus and they kind of walk through everything as they're driving. It's a really fun experience. Keep in mind that there will be a lot of walking, so please be sure to wear comfortable shoes. Be advised if you're traveling with someone, such as spouse, partner, or family member, unfortunately, they will not be able to accompany you on the bus or the tour because we have limited space and also due to liability. They're welcome to meet you downtown to do something after the tour or flexibility there. Please be sure to sign up for the tour on the information request form if you're interested, because it is a ticketed event, so we only have a certain number of tickets, so we want to make sure we have enough. This event is usually on Thursday, which I didn't put on the slide, but that's on the student schedule of events. So Thursday, I believe we meet at 2, and then the tour of the museum, we bus you over for a 3 p.m. start time. The museums all close at 5 in DC, so 3 to 5. And then they will bus us back, or you can elect to stay over on that side of town and hang out for the night. Okay, what everyone wants to know about. The ATE conference gives students an opportunity to participate in the student poster session and share information on their program of study and or career field. As part of their participation, students are required to participate in this session. To help you prepare, a poster session guide is available for download on the conference website, and a link was in your student acceptance letters. We'll also send it out again when we send out more materials. Each student will have a 4x4 space for their poster, as they will be sharing a 4x8 display board. So as you can see in the picture in the slide, There's two posters side by side. That's why it's a 4x8 board. Students from the same institution project may elect to develop a joint poster session and display together. However, due to spacing and visibility concerns, AACC will allow no more than 2 students to jointly present a single poster. Students are encouraged to develop their own individual posters for display. AACC will provide push pins and Velcro for mounting your pre-printed posters to the display boards. Posters must be pre-printed and transported to the event, as AACC will not have printing capabilities. When you sign up for the poster session on the student information form, you will be asked to provide a short abstract that describes your poster. Here's a sample of how the showcase abstracts will look in the conference program. Students will be assigned a poster session number that identifies your display board and where you should place the poster prior to the event. So the posters will be numbered. So you basically come in with your poster rolled up, and then you walk in. The setup is literally just pinning your poster to the board or attaching it with Velcro, however works best for your poster. And we'll have staff on hand to help you with that. And here is the schedule for the student poster session. It's on Wednesday, October 25th. The setup is from 4 to 5. This is immediately following the student meet and greet if you want to walk with us over there as a group. Then the opening plenary session and dinner will happen. And usually students leave a little early from that so they can get ready as we ask you to stand at your posters from 7:15 to 8:45. Oops, sorry. And then immediately following, you just take them down. So it's pretty easy. We get a lot of great attendance because we offer dessert and coffee there. So they have to come over, meet and greet with you, have some dessert, and it's always a really, really great event. Everybody loves to come see all the posters. This is a picture of some of the food and of our past events. As I said earlier, there's a lot of there's buffets at breakfast and lunch. There's a sit-down area to take your food. The dinner on Wednesday night is a sit-down dinner. And then there's desserts and all lovely things at the poster session. Okay. This section will address common questions like conference attire, internet access, and contact information. So the dress is business casual. To be honest, people don't get super dressed up. Maybe the first night they're a little dressier, and then as it goes along, people get a little more casual. So it's up to you. We do suggest you wear comfortable shoes, as there's a lot of walking. It's a big hotel. There's a lot of sessions going up and down stairs and elevators, and to dress in layers because all hotels are cold. And October is kind of a goofy month in DC. It can be warm and it can be cold. So it always bounces back and forth. So layers are key. AACC has negotiated with the Omni to provide wireless access code for use of conference participants in the meeting rooms and common areas. So this will be with your registration materials. Participants also receive complimentary wireless access in their sleeping rooms, and that will be provided on check-in, or you can obtain it at the registration desk. Just a reminder that the student information forms are due Friday, September 22nd. If you have already submitted your form and you want to make any changes, just email me directly and I will change it right away. It's a pretty easy fix. Easier by Friday, September 22nd. Once we start organizing the rooms and things like that, it gets a little harder to fix things. So just try to make the deadline. And I will email you incessantly if you miss it, as I'm apt to do. Okay. And then here's my contact information, which everyone should have at this point. And then that's all we have. And if we can take some questions, as I'm sure a lot have popped up since poster sessions information has gone on. This is a picture of our 2022 folks. So we'll get a picture of you guys too after the breakfast.
Thank you, Courtney. I did want to, there were a couple questions. One I'm just going to address, and then I'll ask another one. If you, somebody was asking about, they're not bringing a poster board. They're actually printing on poster paper, because we are giving you there's a big 4x8 freestanding display board, and you'll have half of that board. You have a 4x4 space. Your poster doesn't need to be the entire 4x4. It can fit within that space. So yes, it's printed, and you roll it up, bring it in, and pin it up. So you don't need any type of board or backing. And then Courtney, I answered this in chat, but someone was asking, do they have to present from the stage, or are they standing in front of their posters and everyone is talking at the same time? If you wanted to address kind of how the flow works.
Yeah, so you'll all be stationed by your posters, in front of your posters, and people will just informally come by and talk to you and ask you about your posters. So it will be a one-on-one thing, and everything will be happening at the same time. So that's the setup period is a great time for you to go around and see your fellow students' posters, as you won't have that much opportunity during the poster session itself to do that. But yeah.
Are there any other questions on posters or
Yes.
any part of this? Yes.
So I was curious about if what you're presenting is supposed to be geared towards your educational experience more, or a research project of yours.
It can be either. We distribute a poster session guide, so you can either talk about your academic field of study, or if there is a research project within that you want to share information on, or we have some students that have recently graduated and are alums, so they would be sharing information about their career field. So it's really what resonates with you. We have had students that are working on specific research projects that as part of their STEM, their program, so they're reporting out on those, and then some that are broadly talking about their own career path trajectory, or the field, the larger field that they're studying, if that makes sense. So we don't,
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be an academic poster. We've had some really great ones about people talking about their, their career journey, path, or aspirations.
Awesome. And my gosh, I had the phrasing in my head. It's totally left me. Okay, one second. If there's another question, I'll be back.
No worries. In terms of the conference being recorded or online, no, that there's a question that was in chat. We are not recording the conference this year. There's no live streaming. We do record like our opening keynote, and then somebody could visit that on demand. But outside of the plenary sessions, none of the conference is recorded or live streamed.
Okay, I've got it. Is it okay if my abstract is not, like, if my actual poster ends up being slightly different from my abstract?
I think if you keep your abstract general enough, it's fine. We certainly have seen, if you submit that, it is slightly different, that'll be okay.
Okay,
it's just
great.
So people get a flavor when they're looking at the abstracts, because they may want to specifically connect with the students in cybersecurity, so they can kind of go through. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, as long as it gives some general information about what you're presenting. And then you're going to find that the community that's coming through, they're very eager to talk with you, very supportive, and will ask some thought-provoking questions. So they're not digesting those to the letter. It's just so it's some general information about what you're sharing.
Okay, and I also noticed that all of the examples were in third person. Am I supposed to write it in first or third person?
Third person would be helpful, because we just try to keep it consistent that way. If you've already submitted it and you've put it in first person, it'll get edited to third person, just so that it's just a style format that we put them in.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Good questions.
Thank you.
So when will that template or different, you said you're sending out something that talks about the different posters they can do. When will that be coming out, or was that in the email from yesterday?
That was in the email, and I just put it into chat.
Okay.
A little bit ago. There it is again. So there's a PDF that has all the guidelines in terms of like what you could include in it, the dimensions.
Gotcha. Okay.
So and that's also on the conference website. And I realized we're like a minute over time, but we're happy to hang out for a little bit if there's a few more questions that anyone has. And I'm trying to see if I missed any in chat while I was busy talking.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and then somebody asked about 2 students can work on the same poster and present the same. Yes, if you're from the same institution and you're working on the same project, 2 students can, submit one joint poster. We just don't allow it to be more than 2 students. Typically, you're only sending 2 from an institution, but sometimes it's 2 institutions working on the same grant. But you can do your own, or if you want to present your own and it's the same project, that's fine too. It's your take of that project, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
And if you think of any questions, just email us. We're happy to answer anything that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly as you're getting those abstracts ready, because I know you put it in and then you may be slightly changing what your poster is, as we discussed, that's absolutely fine. Just so we have a general idea of what it's about. On the question on very technical questions, I don't think you get a lot of technical questions unless you get someone who's, really interested in your discipline, might go deep. But for the most part, people are just interested in engaging with you. So I wouldn't imagine you're getting a ton of technical questions unless you have a very, very technical abstract. We have had some, like in biotech, that have been, very jargon filled. So we would say try to make them a little more general. But if you go in with a really research focused one, you might get cull that type of question. But for the most part, they're not there to really dive deep into your research, more so than to get to know you and learn a little bit about what you're learning. So as I said, you couldn't ask for a more supportive and engaging crowd that comes through. They're really enthusiastic about it. And certainly having sugar and dessert in the room, doesn't hurt either. Getting people there that night. So, and in terms of all the projects are focused in the STEM fields. So science, technology, engineering, or math, it's whatever field that you are in pursuing or potentially going to pursue a career in. All right. Well, I realize we have gone over time. I want to thank Courtney for doing a great presentation and sharing this information with us. And as we said, please feel free to email us. Courtney is your go-to and will be very visible on site. We'll get you the student schedule of events. The information will also be posted to the website. Do get in your form, and then we'll also be following up and getting your hotel confirmation number. And if there are any questions that come up along the way in terms of travel or things you have questions about, we're happy to give some guidance and to share. So you'll feel free to ask any questions. And Courtney, I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, thank you. We're really excited to see you guys. And yes, please do reach out with any questions. We are always here waiting to help. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Ellen and Courtney.